The Philippines is also known for, seafoods and fresh fruits, and there's a lot of very lighter style dishes you can do. What I love about the cuisine is the versatility that, you can have things like lechon, with a thick, rich liver sauce, and it's a really heavy meal. And after all that pork, I look for a really healthy soup, sinigang is an example, and today's example is actually a clam chowder. So we're going to be using, we call it in the Philippines, this is Halaan, the small baby clams. And we're going to whip up a chowder that uses a lot of the ingredients, both native to the Philippines, but also, things like corn and chili leaves, which will just add a bit of color and make it just a little bit thicker. So you don't want a totally clear broth. I want enough food that it could be a full meal, but not so heavy that if I had this with some rice, I'm feeling weighed down at the end. So perfecto talaga ito for that kind of lighter meal, healthier meal, and healthier style of cooking. Very, very simple dish, very fast to prepare. So, maganda talaga this dish if you only have a few minutes spare. The one challenge, of course, is getting your clams. So, obviously in the Philippines, we're blessed with plenty of seafoods here. But, if you're in US or Australia, just make sure you trust your supplier and you have a good fishmonger who can supply you with some of these baby clams. Okay, so ito na yung ating bawang. That's our first step. I'm just using my kamay na lang para mabilis. And we have some ginger that's been cut into itong mga thin strips, and some diced sibuyas. I'm cooking on induction today, so it's really fast to heat up. These pans will work on induction, so it totally changes your life when you can heat the pan in like 30 seconds. And if you're a TV chef as well, it really helps because it's a lot faster for production. Okay, so it's time to add some of your other ingredients when you can smell the ginger and the bawang, the ginger and the garlic, starting to emerge from the pot. Okay, so next I'm going to go straight in with my clams. Okay, so nagbabukas na, or my opening now, are my clams. So they'll start to look like that. It takes a few minutes for that heat to get up, but once it hits a certain threshold, they all sort of open at the same time. Visually, it looks really cool when you're cooking clams or mussels in a pot. And now that the clams have opened up, I'm going to add in my, I'm using native corn today from the Philippines. Of course, just use whatever corn you have locally if you're there in the US or elsewhere in the world. This native one I like because it's got this, ube color as well as the white color. So I think visually this will look fantastic in our soup. But we also grated some of this earlier into a sort of a creamed corn. So that will kind of thicken the soup. And then I'm going to put in a few pieces of the whole corn. So I've just sliced up a few pieces, which I'd like to serve whole, just so each bowl of soup later can have a nice floating piece of corn in it. So I'll throw those in, and we can put in our water next, given it's a chowder. Now I have some regular water here. So I'll put in about a cup of that, but I actually prepared some clam stock earlier, but you can use any type of seafood stock you might have. Here's what it looks like. Gagamitin natin dito yung mga halaan, a bit of onion and pepper, and we just cook that off for quite a while beforehand. Of course, you can use any type of seafood stock. So sometimes if you're cooking like a fish and you have the head and the bones left over, it's a good idea just to boil that with a few, onion, peppers, and celery, and you can always throw that in the freezer. It's good to have some frozen fish stock in your freezer at any time for this kind of dish. But we had the clam stock today, so. And then the last things to put into this before I start to simmer it is a bit of fish sauce. I'll just do a tablespoon first, and then I'll come back and taste it later kung kailangan pa yung asin. And it's as simple as that. I'm going to simmer this now for, about 15-20 minutes, make sure that the flavors are all well integrated, and then we'll come back to add the dahon ng sili and it's ready to eat. So na-simmer na yung ating clam chowder for, about 20 minutes, but it's boiling away now, and I can see that my corn is luto na. If we take a look at that, just looks nice, just cooked. I don't want to overcook the corn. And yung last talaga is yung itong mga dahon ng sili. If you're not in the Philippines and can't find chili leaves, you can substitute some regular spinach. The small green leaf spinach will work just fine. And we put this in right at the end. We're just going to wilt the leaves. So bilis lang. In fact, we can already cut the heat of the stove. So each bowl, you just want to make sure you get a nice assortment of clams, sili, and then a nice, at least one of those round cut corns for the visual effect. And you can finish this with a bit of cracked pepper, also for visual, and just a hint of, a little bit of heat in the broth. But this is now ready to try. Okay, I'm going to taste this straight away, kahit mainit pa, so I'll just take a very, very small taste so I don't burn myself. It's light, it's delicate. The broth is remarkably very flavorful. You wouldn't think for a soup that was this fast to cook that it could have that much flavor, but I think using the clam stock was really important, and the use of the cream corn just to, it kind of floats in there, so every sip of the chowder, you're getting some of that delicious fresh corn that we put in. So this is really good. Dahon ng sili, I love using in cooking. If you can find this outside of the Philippines, definitely buy some. Maybe a little bit more bitter than spinach. And it has a little bit of heat in it as well, so you could add more pepper if you weren't using dahon ng sili. If I was using a regular spinach, I'd probably put some peppercorns into the broth to get that same effect. But this is a great way to start a Filipino meal. You can serve it as a side soup with a bunch of other ulam, or you can take this just as a starter on its own. Pair it with rice, and totally a really healthy, nutritious meal that you can have for lunch or dinner. So really versatile dish.
Sa ulo ng mga nagbabagang balita, si Maputing Cooking at Masflex ay mamamigay ng mga gamit ng kusina. Alamin kung paano makasali dito at baka ikaw ang susunod mananalo. Ako po si Chris Urbano, live sa computer mo.
Now, if you like Filipino food, don't forget you can subscribe to the channel, follow me at maputingcooking.com, and of course, leave a comment below. I love to hear from you guys about what you'd like me to cook next, or, ano iniisip mo tungkol sa future of Filipino food. I think this is one of the most exciting cuisines anywhere in the world, so, I'm counting on all of you who agree with me to help me take it global. So don't forget to share this recipe if you liked watching it, and I'm looking forward to hearing you guys and staying in touch. Ako po si Chris Urbano. Bye now, and we'll see you next time. But this is now ready to try, so I'll grab my spoon. Once again, I don't have one on the set. I just need to keep spoons in my pocket.